10 people in connection with unrest-related charges after violent protests that took place in Phoenix and some parts of Durban 2 weeks ago will today make their second appearance in court. Over 300 people lost their lives in the week-long unrest in parts of KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. Jayed Paulse will give us more details on this. A very good morning to you, Jayed.
Well, a very good morning to you, Desiree. We are coming to you from the Verulam Magistrates Court, where, as you would know, those 10 suspects in connection with the brutal killings in Phoenix are expected to have their bail up heard here today. Now, we're not sure if it's going to be done in Canberra. Earlier this week, we saw the proceedings happening in Canberra, and we expected them to appear physically in court, but at the 11th hour, the media were asked to leave, and they had those proceedings in Canberra. Desiree, just to show you what's happening outside and the viewers back at home, several of the political parties here in KwaZulu-Natal are rallying behind and pledging their support for victims of the unrest, especially those that lost their lives in Phoenix. And many of the placards reading "No bail for racist murderers. South Africa belongs to all who live in it." I must make mention of the fact that there is a heavy police contingent outside court. Both SANDF members and law enforcement are also here. I'm just going to rope in KwaZulu-Natal PwC ANC member just to speak about the support that's given to the victims. Mr. Mshengu, you here, you've taken off the MEC cap for education, but pledging your support for those victims who lost their lives in unrest.
Well, we're here as the ANC in support of the victims of these racially motivated killings. But we're also here to demonstrate our commitment to non-racialism and the united society. That is why amongst the comrades here, you can see even comrades of Indian origin, because we have come to determine that the incidents of the past, unfortunate as they are, they don't represent the character of the compatriots of Indian origin. They don't define who the Indians are. It's just a group of vigilantes that were motivated, in our view, by racism and killed the African people. But we must never allow that unfortunate incident to divide us as a people. So important to us today is to communicate that message to the comrades here, but also to society. But we want the process of building peace, non-racialism in the united society to be anchored on the foundation of peace and justice. Because without justice to the victims, it will just be papering over the cracks. Just like we stood with the victims of the looted shops and other businesses, we are here to stand with the victims of the senseless killings. And we believe that the law will be able to protect those that were the victims of this heinous act.
Mr. Mshengu, we've heard and seen people calling for government to intervene. Just in this week, people were saying there was no visibility from government officials, but I see you hitting the ground running. In terms of trying to foster unity in Phoenix, what are we going to be doing, or what are we going to be seeing from government?
Government has been on the streets. In fact, immediately after this mayhem started, we have been here in Phoenix many times, including occasions where we led by the Premier. There are committees, peace committees that have been put in place by government. There are other external stakeholders that have been brought in to assist government in facilitating peace, particularly in this area of Phoenix, Chatsworth, as well as North Delhi in Pietermaritzburg. As you probably heard yesterday, the Premier is also mulling over the possibility of establishing a commission of inquiry, because we believe that there is more into what has happened. So we do need to find the truth as to why there was a target of African people to be killed, innocent people for that matter. So government continues to be seized with this matter of Phoenix and other areas. That's why you even see the law enforcement agencies quite visible on the ground. It's exactly because of government efforts to try and maintain law and order and bring peace in this. But this must be complemented by all of us as responsible South Africans. We don't want anyone to continue perpetrating racism on the basis that he stands with the side of victims. We are quite sure that in order for victims of this senseless killing to rest in peace, they would want to see a united South Africa. And we believe their blood, like that of Solomon Mahlangu, will nourish a tree that will bear fruit for freedom, for peace, for equality, and for a truly non-racial and united South Africa.
Very much. Well, that was PEC member KwaZulu-Natal just talking about the support that is being pledged outside the Verulam Magistrates Court, but also calling on people to also stand behind those who have lost their lives, saying that we simply cannot turn a blind eye. Justice will prevail. Also saying that there's a mixed group of people here. There are several cultures that have stood in solidarity, and they are saying that this is not only one grouping, but many people who have come out in their numbers. I'm just going to ask Ray to walk with me and show you the diverse people that are here outside Verulam Magistrates Court. On my far right, we're just going to show you the police visibility. As you can see, SANDF members are out in their numbers. The police, law enforcement also, very large contingent here outside ensuring that people are safe. But on the far right hand side, EFF members have also, I see they've also congregated right next to the court, and we're just going to be showcasing some of the political parties that are also showing their support for those victims and showing their placards. And this is what we've been seeing throughout the week. Many people coming out and saying that, justice needs to take place. They don't want this to be, swept under the carpet. People need to be held accountable for the murders that happened in Phoenix. And as you can see on your screens right now, some of the placards that EFF members are hoisting, calling for the Minister of Police, Becky Cele, to also account for what has happened, and saying that several of the private security companies here in KwaZulu-Natal, if you can see on your screens right now, that they too allegedly were involved in some of the unrest that took place in Phoenix, and saying that also should be investigated. But this party has been here throughout the week. They were one of the first parties on the scene when we were reporting on Monday, and we've seen a lot of civil organizations also coming out and pledging their support. We will be bringing you the latest developments when those 10 suspects do appear in court. Not too sure whether it will be in camera or whether they will be physically in court. Desiree.
Jayed Lee, you were talking about, the diversity of people who are there. You spoke to a woman at the first appearance who said that she supported her boys and her men. They were protecting them, although she couldn't say what they were protecting them from. And another side saying that justice before reconciliation, that we shouldn't be having a conversation about reconciliation or conciliation before justice is served. Just in terms of non-organized society, is there still that sense of, polar ideas about what the causes of this particular violence was?
Well, we've seen civic organizations, civil organizations coming out. We've seen some of the different voices that have been saying that this is criminal elements that have jumped on the bandwagon, Desiree, that it was not premeditated, that Phoenix massacre word has also been heavily debated on social media, many calling it a massacre, some people saying it was not in fact a massacre, but rather a mass shooting. So we've seen these debates happening on social media. But with regards to the community in Phoenix, the South Africans of Indian descent, they are saying that not all of them were involved in those killings, and they should not be painted with one brush. It should not be called the Phoenix massacre. It's got negative connotation to the area, saying that more needs to be done in terms of investigation, more information needs to be brought to book, but also looking at the mortuary that's stationed in Phoenix. That mortuary serves for that particular area. There was a mortuary close by that closed down, and some of the bodies that were taken there are not necessarily linked to the killings or the shootings that occurred in that area. So that is still an ongoing investigation, and we have seen authorities speaking about that. But I'm just going to ask Ray to walk with me again and see if we can see if there are any of those organizations from Phoenix who have come out. I actually haven't seen them, Desiree, they were here on Monday, like you mentioned. We spoke to some of the members there, and they said that they will continue supporting those suspects until evidence is brought, concrete evidence is brought, and they are said to have been directly involved with killing some of the members of society, but saying that they will be stationed outside court. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any of those members. I'm not yet sure if that's because of the backlash that they have received. But on the grounds right now, heavy police contingent, political parties are stationed here, as well as members of society coming out in their numbers to pledge their support for the victims and ultimately calling for no bail for those 10 suspects.
Thank you so much, Jayed Paulse, for bringing us up to speed.